Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is pencillerKD back with a new video on practicing portraits. This is one of my initial videos where I will be talking about the importance of practicing your art using sculptures as reference objects. In my opinion, an artist must continuously seek ways to challenge themselves. And this, my friend, is one of the best ways to improve our skills. Let's start with this process without further ado. Make sure you watch this video till the end of it. Also, do like, subscribe, and please share this video with your loved ones. We are now going to do some portraits, and while we are at it, I'll keep on explaining the steps involved in it. The first thing that we'll work on is the composition. In the initial stages, we'll be laying our emphasis more on the overall shape of the structure rather than diving deep into the details. We have to start with laying some marks on the paper to carve out our face out of it. Initially, I'll take my time to mark the features on the paper and plan my actions. Once I have the blueprint ready, I'll dive deep and fetch out all the details from the reference. I'll speed up the process a bit so that you can get a hang of it without spending much time. If you wish to see the entire video in real time, just let me know in the comment section below. Since it is just for the demonstration purpose, we won't be refining this piece any further. Let's move on to the next sketch quickly. For this one, I'll be placing the reference image next to my actual sketch, and let's see how it goes. As I mentioned earlier about how crucial the initial stage is, we'll carefully start with creating our blueprint. This video is going to have a lot of drawing, composition, shading, or you can call it rendering if you will. The intent for this is to develop an observation skill. The next time you look at a head, you must start imagining how it is structured and what kind of lights and dynamics are involved in the scene. Next, we will be doing a side profile. I really like this one. The expressions are also quite interesting here. In this reference, you will observe how light plays an important role. As we can see, the light source is at the top. The areas which are at the lower half of the face holds darker values than the ones that are at the top. All the planes of the faces that are facing downwards, like chin, bottom of the nose, earlobe, rear part of the head, will receive a shadow region, which means it will be relatively on the darker side of the value scale. On the contrary, all the regions of the faces that are towards the light will receive a lighter value from the value scale. Further, in this video, I'll explain what all things we should keep in mind while rendering a sketch, how the contour and structure plays an important role in the movement of medium, be it graphite, charcoal, or a paintbrush for that matter. Now once we have achieved the blueprint and we have our playground ready for rendering, it is important that you step back and think for a moment about the dimensionality of the face. Just ask a few questions to yourself. What are the areas of the face which are closer to you? Where is the light source? What kind of expression does the character hold? What is the value scale that I am looking at? What is the contour of the object? Before we start rendering this, let's take a closer look at what I mean when I say contour of the object. We have to understand that the object that we are drawing is a three-dimensional object. As soon as you start treating your reference as a 3D figure, you will see that some new direction starts to show up, like depth and the gradient. One thing that I use a lot is squinting my eyes. If you look at your reference and squint your eyes just a little bit, you will observe that all the little details that you were seeing before are now gone. Now what remains is a blocky structure which only suggests the high-level design of the reference. First of all, I see that there are some areas in the reference that are darker than the others. I will then create a relationship between those areas. Try to identify the darkest and the lightest areas on the portrait. These are the areas that lie in the darker part of the value scale. This area will lie somewhere at the middle of the value scale. And also we need to develop a relation between the darker and the lighter parts. So that is basically a relationship between the lights and the darks along the value scale. Next, we also have to observe the three-dimensionality of the structure. We have to keep it in mind that this is not a two-dimensional object. It has its own contours, it has its own grooves and ridges. So while shading, we need to essentially make sure that we are following those lines. If I simply start shading without following the contours and the ridges, I might end up with a figure which will look more like a 2D rather than a 3D. Now, to highlight the light areas, I'll use an eraser and remove some extra graphite from the paper. Lastly, I will be doing a 3/4 view. Starting off with marking the territory, I will create a rough estimate and try to place all the features at its correct location. While doing this, I am constantly moving my eyes to and fro between the sheet and the reference. Once I have the plan ready, I'll move on with the rendering. I'll initially not go with the darkest shade. We'll try to go up to the mid-range at max. Now, I'll go in with the 5B and darken the areas that are in shadows as per the current value scale. Next, I'll pick my mono eraser and remove all the extra graphite that I can see. While doing so, I'll make sure I don't remove anything important from the portrait. With this, I'll wind this video up. I hope you got to learn a thing or two from it. Make sure to drop a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Till then, bye bye, keep drawing.